Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, I don't know where that came from, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Legal Importance 7999 from the Off My Chest subreddit and says, my best friend is selling the project car we built together to take his girlfriend to Bali. It's registered in his name. I'm absolutely losing my mind right now, and I just need to vent before I do something I permanently regret. For the past 8 months, my best friend and I have been building a project car in his garage. It started as a completely stripped, beat-up chassis. I'm the one with the mechanical knowledge, so I did 90% of the actual heavy lifting. Building the engine, sorting the wiring, installing the suspension, everything. On top of that, I funded about 80% of the parts because he was short on cash but promised would split the profit 50-50 when we flipped it, or just keep it as a track toy. Because it was in his house, in his garage, we registered the chassis in his name just to make the initial towing and paperwork easier. Huge mistake. Huge. The build is finally finished. It looks incredible, sounds insane, and the performance is top tier. Yesterday, he calls me out of nowhere and tells me a buyer offered him a massive cash deal for it, and he accepted. I was hyped at first thinking about our payout. Then he drops the bomb. He's keeping the entire profit because he wants to take his girlfriend on a luxury vacation to Bali next month. He literally told me, well, it's my garage and my name on the papers, so legally it's my car. I'll give you $500 for your trouble. $500. I spent thousands on the turbo setup, the ECU, and hundreds of hours of manual labor. I literally have grease permanently stained under my fingernails from building his vacation fund. I don't even know what to do. Legally, I know I'm probably screwed because there's no written contract, just text messages. I feel completely betrayed by someone I considered a brother. The commenter says to OP, if you have receipts and text messages stating the money was to be split, you can take him to small claims court. This doesn't require a lawyer or anything and is usually pretty quick. If he doesn't show up, they rule in your favor. He's a terrible friend, and I hope after this is all said and done, you never speak to him again. OP says thank you so much for explaining that small claims doesn't need a lawyer. That actually makes me feel way less overwhelmed. I definitely have the text where we talked about splitting the profits 50-50 when we finished the build. I'm going to start organizing all the receipts tonight, and yeah, after this, he's dead to me. Commenter says, I would definitely let him know you're planning to seek legal action. Before buying his tickets to Bali, you recommend he consults with an attorney because he will owe you a lot more than he realizes. OP says that's a brilliant point about warning him before he drops all that cash on tickets. I'm honestly terrified of the confrontation because he thinks he completely holds all the cards right now, but maybe mentioning a legal consultation will make him sweat a bit. The commenter says, a build like that should be documented with videos, Facebook posts. If you spent money, get the receipts. Sue him. That's real money and it will be taken seriously. OP says I actually do have a ton of videos and photos on my phone from when we're doing the engine swap. I paid for the turbo kit on my card, so the bank statements are there. But can I actually sue someone if the car registration is entirely in his name? I'm just so stressed out, man. I don't even know how small claims court works. Commenter says you absolutely can and have a strong case based on the evidence you have. Especially if you can ensnare him with some text messages. Hey man, I get you want to take your girl to Bali, but I spent way more than this on the car and rebuild, and we agreed to split it 50-50. Depending on what he says, he can absolutely sue himself by confirming what you said trying to apologize. Very shitty friend, but at least you get your money back. A lot of shitty friendships cost people a lot more and they get back a lot less. OP says this is an incredibly smart move. Actually, I haven't replied to his last text yet because I was too angry. So I'm going to word my next text exactly like this. If I can get him to text back and explicitly admit that we agreed to 50-50, that gives me actual leverage. Thank you so much, I'm literally typing it out to him now. Gearhead says, the parts are yours. You never paid for them. Tell him either to give you a fair share, your parts back, or you'll take him to court. Small claims is super easy, just paperwork at the local courthouse. In most states you don't even need a lawyer, but it might help you if the value is high enough to justify. We had to take our wedding photographer to small claims and it was magically resolved after she received a summons. OP says the thought of taking my parts back definitely crossed my mind, but the car is locked in his garage. I don't want to catch a breaking and entering charge on top of losing my money. Hearing your story about the wedding photographer magically fixing things after a summons gives me a lot of hope though. I'm going to look into local small claims paperwork first thing in the morning. One more commenter says to OP, small claims, then get a new friend. Also, I'll draft a bill for your hours put into it at a fair/standard rate to include in your claim. OP says drafting the bill for my manual labor is an incredible idea. If I count up every weekend and late night I spent rebuilding the top end and doing the wiring, even at basic hourly rate, it easily totals thousands. Adding that to the receipts for the parts should make the claim airtight. Thank you so much for this. Now, I'm not going to comment on the legalities behind it because the commenters seem to have that sorted, but I find it mad that a friend, someone that you trust enough to spend months building a project car with, would throw away a friendship like this. The stealing is awful. Absolutely shitty behavior, but I also can't help but think about the planning behind it too. This wasn't just a shitty move in the moment or a bad decision during an argument or whatever it is. This was months of watching OP spend thousands on parts, hundreds working on it using his expertise to fix this car. There was discussions about splitting the profits. And then he just comes out with, well, it's in my name, so it's mine, and that's it. Cheeky bloody bastard. And then offering $500 for your trouble in the end is just like a kick in the nuts. I really hope OP is going ahead with the small claims and it comes out in his favor in the end, because that's just some shitty behavior, right? So OP did come in with an update and says, first of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented on my last post and to the people who flooded my chat requests. I've been reading through the messages silently, including some actual legal perspectives, but my inbox is a bit overwhelmed right now, so I couldn't reply to everyone individually. I felt completely broken yesterday, but seeing so many people in my corner giving solid advice gave me the backbone to actually do something about this. A few of you suggested that I shouldn't confront him aggressively, but instead text him calmly to try and get him to admit to our 50-50 agreement in writing so I'd have evidence for small claims court. Well, it worked. Better than I could have imagined. Last night I sent him a text, kept my emotions completely out of it, and wrote, "Hey man, I'm trying to stay calm here. I know the registration is in your name, but we spent 8 months building this together, and I explicitly agreed to split the profit 50-50. Dropping $500 on me after I built the engine and funded the turbo setup is completely unfair." He took the bait immediately. He called me twice, but I let it get a voicemail because I wanted everything in text. When he realized I wasn't answering, he texts back, "Bro, plans change. I need the cash for the Bali trip with Jess. Yeah, we said 50-50 at the start, but legally it's my car. Be happy I'm even giving you $500. You don't have a contract anyway, so you can't do anything." He literally admitted to the agreement while trying to flex that I couldn't stop him. Once I had that screenshot saved and backed up, I sent my final reply. I have the receipts for every single aftermarket part, bank statements proving I bought them, and now I have your text admitting that we agreed to split the profit 50-50. I'm drafting an itemized bill for my labor hours at a standard shop rate. If you don't freeze the sale and give me my fair share, I'm filing a summons for small claims court first thing on Monday. See you there. He hasn't replied since, but his girlfriend just blocked me on Instagram, so I know he's absolutely panicking right now. I'm currently organizing all my receipts and printing out the text thread. I will keep you guys posted on whether he folds or if we're actually going to court. But for now, the trap is sprung. Go hard, OP. I'm sort of fist pumping the air right now. Commenter says to OP, doing everything via text and ignoring calls was a big brain move. Well done. OP says, thanks. I knew if I picked up the phone, it would just be a shouting match and I'd lose my leverage. Had to get it in writing. Commenter says, great to see this update. It'd be heartbreaking enough to see all this hard work just disappear without enjoying the car first. Then to throw in that I'd rather toss a friend away for a vacation. That sucks, man. Good luck with this process and fingers crossed it gets sorted soon. I guess at the least you figured out what kind of person he is sooner. OP says thanks. Honestly, that's the part that stings the most. We spent late nights bleeding brakes, tracking down wiring gremlins, and just talking about how insane it would sound when it finally boosted. Watch him toss all that away just to flex on a vacation is wild to me. But you're right. Better to know who he really is now than later. Commenter says, hey, just make sure you're super organized and prepared. This sounds like a slam dunk for you, and judges love when someone acts like they care about respecting the court's time. OP says definitely. I'm currently printing out every single bank statement, receipt, and the exact text thread so it's completely organized stack. Not trying to waste any time. The commenter says, you did good, but I'm really sorry that you're having to deal with all this and navigate the legal system right after losing a friend. Thank you. It's really surreal. Trying to navigate the legal side while processing the betrayal is exhausting, but I have to protect myself. Appreciate it, bro, and I hope he folds too, but if we're going to court, I'm bringing every single receipt and charging for every hour of labor. A commenter says to OP, now his girlfriend is mad at you because you didn't let her boyfriend steal the money from you. Maybe the idea to sell the car was hers. If he needs to sell a car to afford vacations, maybe it's not a good idea of going. OP says, honestly, wouldn't surprise me if she was whispering in his ear about it. The fact that she blocked me the second I threatened court speaks volumes. No commenter says, absolutely, she saw it as a double win of cutting boyfriend off from his friend / shared hobby that he wastes too much time with and getting a bunch of money to spend on herself. I wouldn't be surprised if she drops boyfriend when the consequences hit. OP says, spot on, if he loses his vacation fund because of court, we'll see how long she actually sticks around. And Boward says, very eager to learn how much you exactly spent, parts and labor on this project that your ex-friend is only offering you $500 for. OP says, I'm still organizing the final stack of receipts for Monday, but just the turbo setup and ECU alone ran into thousands, plus hundreds of hours of heavy manual labor. $500 doesn't even cover a fraction of it. That so-called friend, in air quotes, absolutely just punching himself in the nuts time and time again, isn't he? He sent that text where it said, bro, plans change. I need the cash for the holiday trip. And then said, yeah, we said 50-50 at the start, but legally it's my car. Be happy I'm even giving you $500. You don't have a contract anyway, so you can't do anything. Saying you can't do anything and then admitting in the text is such a dumbass move. It's wild. OP did add a final update to this as well. He said, I honestly didn't expect my life to become a multi-part drama series on Reddit. But after the insane amount of support on my last two posts, I owe you guys the final conclusion. To recap, I text my best friend using the advice here, trapped him into admitting our agreement on the project car build, and threatened him with small claims court and an itemized bill for my labor. Yesterday morning, the pressure finally broke him. I woke up to 5 missed calls from his dad. It turns out his dad saw the text thread on his phone, or my ex-friend cracked under pressure and confessed, I'm not entirely sure. His dad is a really hard-working, honest guy. He was absolutely mortified by what his son tried to do to me. About an hour later, my ex-friend called me. He sounded completely defeated. No more arrogant flexing, no more legally it's my car attitude. He apologized, though it sounded like his parents forced him to do it. Because of the text trap, he knew he was completely cornered. Instead of trying to fight it or stick into that insulting $500 offer, he agreed that a 50-50 split wasn't fair since I funded almost everything. We settled on an 80-20 split in my favor to cover the turbo setup, all my parts receipts, and the manual labor hours I put in. We met up at a local bank a few hours ago. I watched the cashier verify the cash for my 80% share, deposited it straight into my account, and walked out. His trip to Bali with Jess is still happening, but it's going to be a lot more budget friendly now that he isn't funding it with my hard work and parts. After we left the bank, he tried to ask if we were good. I just looked at him and said, we're even on the car, but the friendship is done. Good luck in Bali. Then I walked away and blocked his number. I lost a brother, which hurts, but I kept my money, my dignity, and my peace of mind. I genuinely couldn't have done this without the absolute legends in this subreddit, who gave me the legal strategy and the courage to stand up for myself. The money is safe in the bank, toxic weight is out of my life, and this chapter is officially closed. Thank you all so much. OP has one final comment and says, looking back at everything, what's honestly so crazy to me is the contrast of human nature. While someone I called a brother for a decade was busy trying to screw me over, thousands of total strangers on the internet were stepping up to protect me for absolutely nothing in return. It's truly beautiful how people who don't even know my name are willing to give their time, legal advice, and genuine support just to help a stranger stand his ground. You guys showed me more loyalty in 24 hours than he did in 10 years. Thank you all, seriously. Commenter says, you can keep his dad since his dad is a really good man, but not the son. And Opie says, yeah, right. And it is still just like shocking at the end of this that someone would throw away a decade-long friendship over this just like that. And then at the end, still saying that we're good now, like things are just going to move on as normal. Cheeky sod. So glad that Opie was able to get their money back after everything they put into that car as well. And I really do wish them all the best going forward. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. let's move on to another story. Now, our next story, it comes from character dentist 6420 and says, am I the arsehole here for not telling my cousin that we're going on this same trip? My cousin, 21, and I, 21, have a very fluctuating relationship. She used to bully me when we were little, but as we grew up and we matured, the bullying stopped and we became long-distance sisters. We live a plane ride away from each other. I thought we were super close, but a few things have happened to make me wonder. Skip this if you want to read the problem. 1. Her senior year of high school, she made it a huge deal that I visit her. I graduated a year earlier and spent an entire day with her class, tiny farming community school. I obliged and wanted to support her. After spending the day, she told me she didn't want me to come back because her friends were intimidated by me and didn't like me. I asked her what I did so I could apologize, but she didn't tell me what I did. I asked my mum. She vents to my mum a lot and trusts her, so I thought she might know a very general reason so I could fix it. I wasn't looking to have my mum violate her trust. I asked our grandma, but again, nothing in particular. Just, they don't like you. I've overthought and examined that day so many times, and I cannot think of anything I might have done. The only thing I might have come up with is that I was a college student while they were seniors, but again, I didn't ask to go. She invited me and I wanted to support her. 2. She then disinvited me from everything I'd come down to do with her, save for her graduation ceremony. Grad party she wanted me to come to, friend hangout so I could get to know her friends better, etc. So I hung out with aunts, littles, and our grandma the whole trip. I felt incredibly left out and disappointed that I'd taken this time off of work when it could have been a weekend trip for a ceremony rather than the whole week. 3. Now in college, she's been super cagey about any of her friends, including one of her friends who's one of my cousins but on the other side of the family. Not related to the main cousin in the story. It's been so hurtful to find out things through family members rather than from her when she expects me to be close with her, open with her, call her regularly and visit for holidays. She visited me once, I go see her often. Now to the problem, and this is where I might be the arsehole. I was given the opportunity to get an all-expenses-paid trip to the Caribbean through a college program my cousin and I are both a part of. Different campuses. I really felt torn about going and missing work and inevitably spending money while I was there, and I talked to her about it. She encouraged me not to go and to instead save my vacation time to come visit her during the summer instead of going to the Caribbean. I agreed and said I wouldn't go. A few months later I found out she was offered the same trip and is going. I was so pissed. I talked to one of my best friends at college and she got pissed too and said, we're going to go together and we're not even going to worry about what she is doing. So we both applied, got our flight paid for, and are going on the trip. But she doesn't know. I do know she's going with some college friends and she has talked to me about it once, but she knows nothing about what I'm doing. And honestly, my plan is to just ignore her and wave if I see her. Not be overly rude, but give her space and just enjoy my time with my friend and not bother meeting up with her. I'm excited for the trip. My boss is super happy I'm going, but am I the arsehole here for not telling my cousin? Edit 1. Another story may be worth mentioning. We're supposed to have a family girls trip to Florida in a few months after this Caribbean trip. My mum and I are the ones planning and my parents are paying for it. My cousin and her mum tried to hijack the trip to go visit friends in Florida rather than hang out with us. But the trip is still on and I have a non-refundable plane ticket. So after the blow of her not knowing I'm on the same trip as her, I gotta be cordial for a girls trip just a few months later. Am I the arsehole for not trying to make it good now so that I don't ruin that trip later too? Edit 2. Thank you for all your comments. I wasn't expecting this to get traction. I'm at work, but I'll try to respond to them all soon. I just came out of this one wondering what the cousin actually brings to OP's life because it feels very one-sided relationship. OB keeps investing in the relationship as though they're genuinely close, while the cousin's actions seem to suggest otherwise. OP's traveling to see her, taking time off work, supports her, worrying about her, all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, you've got this cousin who's treating her like shit, excluding her from plans and basically keeping her at arm's length. And then you got this whole Caribbean trip, which she actively discouraged her from going to and then is going herself. Whether it's jealousy or whatever's going on in the background here, why would you want that in your life, right? But a commenter says, I guarantee you, your cousin is jealous of you. Her friends did like you and it pisses her off. Stop trying to be there for her. She enjoys pulling your strings and you're allowing it. She's mildly toxic, but still toxic. You can be cordial when you're at the same family events. Opie says I'm worried that I'd cause even more drama if I don't answer her calls or call or catch up with her or treat her like my sister. My family is so close and all in each other's business that if we aren't close anymore, it'd impact the other cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff. But maybe I should get over that to protect myself from more hurt from her. Commenter says, but if you all are so close, why is everyone okay with her treating you like crap based on vague information? But if you stop being there for her, it'll what? Tear the family apart? Opie says she is very rarely seen as the problem in our family, whereas I'm farther away from all of our family, so I get painted as the problem more often. My mum defends me, but my cousin is able to come out looking like the good guy to my aunts and grandma for the most part. They just don't know me as well, so they're biased towards her. But I do wish they'd see the mistreatment instead of her excuses. Another commenter says, I totally agree that your cousin is jealous of you. Go on the trip and enjoy yourself. Chances of you running into her would be slim. If she was staying in the same hotel, would your interests fall in line with yours? Opie said she'll be at the same hotel and there are a few events that the entire group will do together. However, it should be a very large group, so I should be able to keep my distance. I'm hoping we don't see each other, but I'm almost certain we will. Commenter says, what does your boss have to do with this? It has zero bearing on the situation. You and a friend applied for the trip after you found out your cousin was going. I thought you already been offered the trip before you found out about the cousin going. This is confusing. Opie says we were offered the trip, but you have to apply through the campus organization. It's a 100% accept rate, but they need all your info and whatnot in order to attend. I was just going to let the application expire and not go until I heard she was going. My friend originally was unavailable, but got the time off to go with me. Sorry that this is confusing. Commenter says, drop your cousin. She sounds awful. Just start separating from her. You owe her absolutely nothing. I can't understand why you even bother to have a relationship with her. Opie says our family is really close, like cousins and siblings close. It would blow up the dynamic if I just had a falling out with her, but I really need to figure out boundaries. A commenter replies saying, girl, this is not close. This is enmeshed. See a therapist and learn how to deal with this while you're young, instead of trying to navigate the bullshit with a potential partner, weddings, anniversaries, births, etc. Opie says I have a therapist and I'm praying I can figure this out before I get engaged later this year. You have a very good point. Another commenter says, your cousin sounds like someone who likes to sabotage someone's happiness, and you let her. She probably heard from her friends how much they liked you, and in turn, she doesn't want you around anymore. Tale as old as time. Why would she want you to visit her every time you're around? She hangs out with her friends who don't like you, so you are left to your own devices, and you let her. You sound like the one with a problem for not having a backbone. How is your younger cousin dictating what you do ever? I think you need to grow up and start putting her in her place, or you will never be happy. She sounds like a nightmare. Or this is super fake. Opie says we have a lot of good moments. The post only depicts the bad moments that are prevalent to my decision in the story. We've had a lot of good times and good memories, but it makes it so I feel I need to keep the peace to my family as it is, and the friendship as we have it. And one more commenter says you should take whatever vacations or trips you want. Your cousin can go on her own trips too, so even if they're on the same trip, just keep to your own itinerary, regardless of her or her stated wishes. As a seasoned traveler, the worst thing you can do to your mental health is give up your needs or wishes for someone else, aside from a significant other. So OP does update the post and says hello again. I didn't think I'd be making an update so soon, but here is the update that many has asked for, and would I be the arsehole here question. Feel free to go to my page and find the original. My cousin called me today and we chatted. I tried to keep it vague like people in the comments recommended. We chatted politely and I asked her if she has any fun summer plans coming up. She then started complaining about how she really wanted to fly away somewhere but was trapped in her hometown all summer and until our girls' trip later in the fall. I said, oh, I thought you were taking some trip in July, when the Caribbean trip is. Turns out her friends bailed on her last second and she hasn't been a part of the program long enough to get her flights covered, so she would have had free room and board plus activities, but had to pay for a full flight, which is very expensive, whereas I've been able to get everything for free and have my best friend there to do this trip with me. I know this isn't the blow-up reaction that most people wanted, but the universe has a funny way of delivering karma. Maybe if she had been honest with me, she'd still be going, or at least have me as a backup person to go with. That's the other crazy part. Not only did she keep it a secret as to go with her friends alone, but she didn't even think to invite me as a secondary option. I didn't mention this in the original post, but actually invited and asked her to come with me on a very similar trip with this program a year ago. It didn't work out for either of us, but she could have at least had the decency to return the favor. Long story short, she still doesn't know I'm going. But now, not only do I not have to deal with her trying to push me out, I don't even have to see her when we get there. We can have an unbothered and amazing trip. Thank you all for your advice and support. Now, how do I tell her I'm going on a dream trip that she couldn't make work? Would I be the arsehole here to just let her find out through Instagram posts? I feel whichever way this comes out, that cousin is going to lose her shit. Commenter says, don't tell her. You'll be hearing shit from her when she finds out, and by letting her find out later, you'll spend less time hearing about it, and you will hear nothing to spoil your trip. Opie says that's a good point. I don't want to have her or my aunt or someone saying I should give up my trip. Commenter says yes, she's gatekeeping her friends. They either thought you were cool or a guy she knows said you were pretty. Stop trying to be a friend to your envious cousin. Opie says yeah, I need to slowly get out of the friendship. Commenter says, I wouldn't tell her. The minute you do that, she's going to want you to take her. Maybe mention it at your family's girls trip. Not before then, not the arsehole. Opie says yeah, she will see it on Insta, so she will know once I get there. It'll be impossible to keep it a secret before the girls trip. Commenter says, are you obligated to post it by the program or something? Just don't post. Opie says no, but I like to post my trips and the same with my friend. She'll see it in tags, and I'm not going to ask my friend to not post because of my cousin, and I'm not going to stop posting because of her either. Commenter says, let her find out on her own. Don't let her spoil your trip, and you know she'll try. Opie replies saying, this is probably the unfortunate reality. Commenter says, your parents know that you're going and about the situation between you and your cousin. Hopefully they don't let it slip that you are going. Opie says, yes, they know and are on my side. And one more commenter says to Opie, you nicely asked her about her summer plans. Did she ask you about yours? If she did, that would have been the time to confess. But now it sounds like she just talked about herself and couldn't care less about what you were going to do. Don't feel guilty or like an arsehole when someone treats you shabbily. If she really was a close friend, she wouldn't be treating you as an afterthought. Opie says she didn't ask. She asked about how my job and college was going, so she's not completely self-centered by any means, but it's more about far-out plans than the present. I don't think that's going to go well, whichever way this comes out. That cousin is going to lose it, like I said before. I kind of felt like on the side of not letting her know until you're actually on the trip, because any point up to it, she'll try and get involved, try and get maybe OP to cover the cost of the flight or something along those lines through guilting and manipulation. But I'll certainly be looking out for the fallout of this one in an update probably soon. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.